welcome back to the program. You're watching Morning Thailand with Phi and Golf, and I have mentioned, we're going to give you an updates on situation in terms of a flood around the country at this point. Now, they say that as of since the 17th of this month until now, we have seen 29 provinces under flood already.
And somewhere it's really critical.
Very critical. We're talking about you gotta have to live on a second floor of your house, kind of critical. Now they say that on the northeastern part of Thailand, there was 10 provinces already. In the north, about 6 provinces. In the central of the country is 8 provinces, as well as in the east is 4 provinces, where was 1 province down south, which is Chumphon, that's seen a lot of inundation. Now, of course, I'm not gonna to name all the 26 because otherwise 29 otherwise it's going to be a lot. Now, however, what you have to brace for at this point is from the 26th onward, so including today all the way to the 29th of this month, there will be a lot of heavy rain in the north, the central, as well as the northeast. So be very, very careful at this point. All the authorities are trying to actually make sure that everything is under control. However, in one of the most severe place would have to be Prachinburi province in the Kabinburi district. Now, in this particular in this particular district, there has been a lot of situation in terms of high flood level due to the fact that at this point has seen a lot of flash flood that coming down from Saraburi province as well, and we just merged right into Kabinburi. And they say that at this point there's a lot of villagers that actually brought out the trailers, the trucks, the tent, and closed down Suwanson Kabinburi Sakeo road that actually situated linking the 2 provinces together, and demanding yesterday that Kun Chitra Prom Chutima, the governor of Prachinburi province, open the sluice gate in the Ban Phet Em sluice gates as well as Ban Tha Hae sluice gate to actually open up a lot more than it actually is. It actually was at that point. It was about 30 centimeter that they opened. So ended up yesterday, just to clear everything and clear the road, the provincial governor opened already Wangdan, Nam Wangdan sluice gates for 1 meter high. Nam Tha Hae sluice gates, let me get this straight, sorry. Wangdan sluice gates, there you go, 1 meter high. Tha Hae sluice gates for 80 centimeter high, and Hat Yang sluice gate for 1.8 meter high. So from 30 centimeters, that's a lot of, more gap that they try to open. Obviously, the provincial governor said that she already informed Kun Prapasop Surasawadi, who looked over this particular case, and she said that obviously they opened it already. At this point, we're not sure whether or not how much it's going to help, but hopefully it will ease their pain a little bit here, because due to the fact that a lot of the villagers are actually asking the authorities as well to inform them before they will release any water from Sakeo province into Prachinburi province, because they say that they're situated in the area where they would have to take all this water. So this has become a basin. So obviously they create quite a bit of a nuisance for all the people there. And they say that the authorities has already scheduled on the 28th. So tomorrow, Kun Yingluck Shinawat, our Prime Minister, will go along with the Interior Minister Kun Jarapong Rungsuwan to the Pathum Thani province and release in Samkhok district in particular to give 360 of the rowing boat to the people in the area, to at least trying to help them a little bit. And at this point, Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Sirinthorn, Mahachakri Sirinthorn, already has given out 600 of the boat as well to the people in the Si Mahapot in the Prachinburi province. So obviously Prachinburi has been one of the hardest hit, I would say. And at this point, a lot of authorities are trying their best to actually look into this. And like you have mentioned, Kun Phai, that คุณศสิน
Yes,
who's
the
actually
Secretary General of the สืบนาคาเสถียร I mentioned yesterday that there's a
Right.
possibility of a talk between คุณศสิน and คุณปลัดประสบสุรัสวดี as the คุณยิ่งลักษณ์ชินวัตร the Prime Minister has paid an interest to this
Exactly.
issue, and yesterday there's a revelation that คุณสุพจน์ โตวิจักรชัยกุล he's the Secretary General of the Water Management and Flooding Policy. They said that they will send the letter inviting คุณศสิน เฉลิมลาภ the locals in Mae Wong district of Nakhon Sawan province and also คุณปลัดประสบสุรัสวดี for a meeting
There
so
should
that
be
they
a
can
meeting
talk
already.
and exchange ideas.
Right. It's quite a big deal at this point. I mean, especially with the flood situation, because some people, some supporters say that it would help with the flood, but a lot more research has come out and say that it would only help just a little bit. It's just not worth it. It might not be worth it. So at this point, we're gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, because the meeting is scheduled next week at the government house. So we've got reporters covering the event as well.
Exactly.
Now moving on to the situation down south, as Kun Gov has mentioned earlier about the para-rubber protest in the area, and yesterday there seems to be some positive environment in Nakhon Si Thammarat because คุณ excuse me คุณศักดิ์ชัยชัยเชื้อ the chief head of Chatuchak sub-district in Nakhon Si Thammarat said that the protesters has agreed to open the road blockade but just temporarily.
Well, it's still better than nothing. They have been there for a long time already. I didn't think that it's going to take this long, but it's quite a while.
Now the Asia 41 route that has been closed off earlier has already opened for traffic after several rounds of talks and negotiations between the คุณพานุอุทัยรัตน์ Deputy Secretary General Permanent Secretary General of the Interior Ministry, Chatuchak Sub-District Chief, and also the headman and village headman in Kwan Nang Hong sub-districts. And they said that Kun Sakchai, the chiefman, said that they have to thank the para-rubber farmers and locals in the area for the cooperation in this time. And the reason that they agreed to open the road is because tomorrow there will be a start of the annual festival, Thambun Duan Sip, or the 10th month festival, which is the annual religious ceremony that they would be making merits for their ancestors.
It's unique for the southern people. It's happened a lot, and there's like offering to the spirits and such. So that is quite a big deal.
And that's the reason, because they have to open the road because a lot of southern their families and relatives will come back from Bangkok.
Exactly.
So they have to open this road to facilitate
It's almost
the traffic.
like Songkran for the southern
people.
Yeah, for southern people.
Yeah, and yesterday as well, about the compensations that the government have promised to pay for the rubber farmers. They said that the compensations have already been handed out continuously for those who registered for the government's assistance measures. In Narathiwat, a total of 49 rubber growers have received the assistance money in the form of the bamboos. The province has a total of 18,000 para-rubber growers who have registered for the assistance program. It's the 28% of the total registered farmers throughout the country. The Deputy Agriculture and Cooperatives Minister said that the progress of the program, by saying the number of registered has reached more than 70,000 households, so that 62% of the target in 17 provinces. So it seems that a lot of growers and para-rubber farmers have cooperated quite well with the government's program. And the government had also urged for more growers to follow through with this particular program.
Right. Yes.
And they urge people and also para-rubber farmers to negotiate before they decided to start the gathering.
Exactly, because at this point, obviously, you try to find solution, and sometimes you just cannot. You have to find a ways to work together and compromise at least a little bit, because otherwise, obviously, we have a lot more situation to look after and look at, and yeah, to deal with that. It's just going to be a lot more. Now, talking about the situation, I don't know, like you probably know about the weekend market or Chatuchak market, which is actually one of the most attractive shopping place for a lot of people who coming to visit Thailand, especially right here in Bangkok. And this particular case is actually about the rent hike that has been ongoing for quite a while. The thing was that the BMA, Bangkok Metropolitan Department, used to be the one that runs the Chatuchak market. However, the place itself belongs to the State Railway of Thailand. So technically, BMA has to pay rent, but they hasn't for a long time. And they ended up when the authority was transferred to the SRT or State Railway of Thailand, the court actually has already, the central court has ruled that the rent hike that a lot of the vendors actually file charges against BMA saying that they cannot hike up the rent for them. The central court said that they would dismiss it. But at this point, obviously the vendors are not very happy with the verdict. So they pressed it with the Supreme Court, Supreme Administrative Court. And the Supreme Administrative Court has already came out yesterday and said that they would overrule the Central Administrative Court verdict that say that they would dismiss this particular case. So right now this case is back on the table. Now the rent was actually increased from 120 baht per month to this confide 8,100 baht per month. Exactly.
Not just 100%.
No, 8,100 baht per month versus the 120 baht that they used to be able to sell. And don't forget, these weekend markets is supposed to be like one of the cheapest market where you can find all a good items for a very good price. So at this point, it seems like after 3 years of fighting, this particular case is back on the table. So the BMA will actually have to take a look at this particular case and probably more investigation to be seen. So we're gonna hear a lot more about this, and a lot of the vendors are very happy with this particular verdict, obviously.
Good, because involving the Chatuchak market, we're talking about mafia and black men as well.
Yeah, it was just like one of those market that is very profitable at one point. So everybody's gonna have their hands on it. All right, so let's take a short break, because after we come back, Khun Phai will have a little bit about the roadshow that we're gonna have, obviously trying to increase our economy here. And I have the Democrat parties who are working at this point with the senators to see what they can do in terms of trying to get the amendment blocked. So please stay tuned.